Yes, barbells are king, but even machines, dumbbells, and cables have their place for getting strong. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals about this today. Again, this is something that it's always surprising that some people don't understand. You know, they don't understand the fact that, yeah, if you want to get truly strong, barbells will be king. And the same thing goes to people who try to do some of this other functional strength stuff, and they want to, do some one arm dumbbell swings, and they try to make these big exercises out of these smaller weights, trying to chase stability and stuff. And I'm going to say that may not work as well as you think it will, to be honest, right? So when we talk about the machines and the smaller movements, we're talking about the muscle mass they produce, and the amount of stimulus versus fatigue that they can produce. So nothing to do with these other things that you see people do. But the idea here is that, yes, the majority of your strength base is going to come from barbells. Like, barbells will always be king because of our ability to load them, and the fact that with most barbells, we're usually not dealing with multiple planes of balance the way that we are on some other things. We want some stability, right? We need enough body stability involved to turn things into full body exercises, right? So that is what we do need. But when you think about how that carries over into certain sports, the barbell actually makes sense for this, right? Because you're not always trying to pivot around on one leg or do any of these things. You do need a certain amount of stability while oftentimes doing stuff that kind of moves your body through space. So again, this is why the barbell works, even on bench press and incline and overhead pressing, right? Pressing strength still, but obviously squats, deadlifts, various hip hinges, good mornings, RDLs, all sorts of stuff, right? Even stuff like a split squat, a lot of times a barbell is going to be a great tool for this. But definitely those big exercises, right? This is where we're going to build our strength. In fact, we can build a pretty good amount of muscle doing these. Okay, we can build these things, but it's the coordination that they create. It's the ability for us to have intermuscular and extramuscular coordination while moving big weights. That's kind of the thing that matters here. All right, so hopefully we understand that. But then you get people who grasp that and they're like, so why would I ever do a small movement? And it's like a number of reasons. Number one, you can only handle so much big barbell exercises. Okay. Yes, they are king, but they come at a price. There's a toll to be paid in terms of beating your body up a bit and needing to be able to recover from it, right? So these big movements, squatting, deadlifting, this big heavy weights loaded on top of your back, technically compressing you, there's a lot of fatigue created there, and there's structural fatigue in the body beyond the muscle tissue, right? The bones, the ligaments, all the structures of the body, they get beat up by this, and they can be adaptative stress and they can recover from it, but we can only handle so much, right? Before we start to break. And then we run into potential for overuse also. The overuse injury side, the recovery side, yes, they're king, but they have limited use. And again, people are like, oh, I did whatever this 15 set of squat a week programs. Yeah, but you try to do that long term and it's going to break you. Okay. It's going to break you. And we see that with even the high specificity linear periodization programs. They break lifters eventually. Okay? I'm not saying they don't get you strong, but there are better ways to spend the rest of your recovery resources. So that's when we come over to all these smaller movements. Why do they help us get stronger? Because they build muscle. And they build up weak links. Okay? So you can bench press all you want, and in fact, plenty of people can technically get a big bench doing nothing but bench and bench variations. I mean, technically, if a person came in and just took to their recovery limits, bench pressing and incline benching every week, they'll probably build a pretty respectable bench press eventually. Okay? But they're going to have lagging muscles. And I mean, in a perfect example, so what about a tricep extension? What about some tricep exercises that work that long head? Because here's what we know on the bench. One thing, when you look at some of the EMG data, the closer you get to a 1 rep max, the more the long head gets recruited. Problem is you can't do enough training volume on the bench, heavy, like above 90% of your max, to really get good development. But it seems to be used on the max bench. It does seem to activate, so it's a factor. So coming in and doing some smaller movements that work the long head may improve your bench, right there alone. Number two, they're also an important exercise for maintaining shoulder health. Guys forget about that with muscle balance. They'll go, okay, I mean, I can see how maybe it's going to make me a little stronger because the triceps are involved, sure. But what about the fact that it changes the bar path? In other words, weak triceps are harder on your shoulders on the bench press. It makes the bench press harder on your shoulders. A lot of guys are unaware of that. It's like, why? Because the bar will drift towards your face near the lockout. If your triceps are too weak to effectively lock it out at a position that's closer towards the feet, the weaker your triceps are, the more the bar will drift towards your face for your delts to try to compensate. That also puts extra stress on your shoulder joint. Okay, so having weak triceps can actually make benching beat your shoulders up more. So strong triceps can actually reduce stress on your shoulders. Well, that means we can recover from more benching without getting our body beat up, without having the same joint concerns. So you see what I mean? Perfect example. So building up these muscles matters, right? We could talk about the same thing on a squat. Hamstrings are not a primary mover at all in the squat. They barely grow from the squat also. They're an important stabilizer. In fact, strong hamstrings allow you to sit further back on the squat. That's been noted. Okay. Stronger hamstrings can be used, or bigger hamstrings can be used to bounce the weight off your calves a little bit on a max squat, creating some external tension. They also help stabilize the knee joint. So yes, coming in and doing machine work or even hamstring curls and things for your hamstrings can improve the safety of your squat and potentially the efficiency of it. See where we're going with this? Gaining muscle in general, taking any weak link in your body and thinking like a bodybuilder can actually make lifting heavy safer and in some cases make it more efficient. It can change bar paths, it can change stability, it can stabilize joints. So how do you get all these muscles bigger? Well, you need to be able to do exercises that you can recover from easier that start targeting all these weak links. So yes, isolation work in machines can literally help make you stronger on your big barbell exercises. Okay, this stuff works both directions, right? So again, understanding how to use these tools, it's extremely valuable if you want to play the long game. Extremely valuable for the long game under the barbell, especially if you want to stay strong for decades. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.